Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed episode number 92 with our new friends, CJ and Larissa Julianis, with their movie, The Misadventures of Mistress Maneater. That's a mouthful right there. But if you haven't checked out their movie on Amazon Prime, definitely go check that out. Leave them a review. We're back today with a brand new guest. I'm definitely excited to talk food with this guy. I want to welcome to the podcast for the very first time, Mr. Chef James Martinez. How you doing?
Hey, happy to be on. I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Good. I mean, my power hasn't gone out, so I think I'm good.
Yo, it was windy as hell. We just moved into a new place, so we have these weird windows that were built in like the 70s that are like you have to like push them to open them, and that wind was coming through. Might as well just had the whole window open.
Yeah, for sure. But you know, glad none of us are experiencing here some outages or trees falling on us. So we can at least get this podcast going, so we can talk something more important, which is food, right?
Oh, nothing more important than food.
So, Chef James, or is it Chef Martinez? What do you go by?
I go by Chef James. I go by James Martinez, whatever you want to call me. I have no ego about me, whatever. Just as long as you don't insult me.
There you go. And even then, you might get away with it with as long as you're a good customer, right?
Exactly.
Now, what you got going on is you're starting like your own like pop-up company, right? And you know, I think you've had different iterations of it so far as well, right? From what I've seen in the short time that I've seen you on social media. But right now your focus is more so on the burgers.
Yeah, so I started Martinez Meals, which is my little company. I started that at like the height of the pandemic. So we're talking like 2020, really early. And what I wanted to do at first was just like try to create like cheap, affordable meals for the people in the community. And I started this thing called Smoking Saturdays. First stimulus check my wife got, she got me a smoker for my birthday.
Nice.
And so we started, I started smoking meat and doing stuff like that. But then, you know, some people started getting more money and they weren't really digging the barbecue. So I kind of had to evolve, and I tried new recipes. And currently I've been focusing more on burgers because burgers have always been like one of my go-to favorite meals. And I just ran after it. I came up with my own seasoning blend. I make my own sauce. I have my own style, my own technique. And the Martinez Meals burger has been something that I've been taking to like pop-up events and doing it from my house. And it's been one of the most successful food items I've ever done. And it's something that I'm super passionate about. So it's like, hey, if the shit works, why would I do anything else?
Right. Yeah. And I think it's important, you know, definitely to find your, you know, what works for you, because, you know, I think a lot of people can do like the whole, what I call like the Golden Ox menu, where you go to Golden Ox and have everything, right?
like they have teriyaki chicken. They got Alfredo for some reason.
So have every fucking thing you can think of, right? But people need to know, like, okay, this is the one item I can only get here, right? And I like how you mentioned you started off with barbecue. I think everybody who enjoys, you know, eating meat started smoking meats
Yes.
throughout the pandemic. I did the same thing. You know, I got a shitty little like a electric like water smoker, right? But it did the trick for me at first, and I'm like, whoa, this is incredible, right? And I started smoking meats as well. And then you know, I did get laid off for like a couple of months from work. And I'm like, well, everybody's selling stuff. I'm like, why don't I just, you know, throw my hat in there and just sell a little something, right? And people started buying it, man. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think, you know, this is something I could do, especially all by myself, you know? And people loved it, you know? And truth be told, it wasn't like my best. I even got better at it after the fact, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like you just keep growing the more you work at it.
But I was really excited to see how many people were passionate about it, and I started noticing all around, especially, in the area where I grew up and you're from, right, in El Monte, South El Monte, right, same community basically.
Yeah, it's just a little name. It's all El Monte.
Mm-hmm. And so I noticed that there was all kinds of pop-ups popping up. There's like obviously you have your taco stands and whatnot. That's always
Mm-hmm.
been a big thing for El Monte. I think we've always had the best tacos here. I don't think many people can
Oh,
argue. Maybe some
oh
East
yeah.
LA folk can throw their hat in the ring there, but El Monte's always had great tacos here. But then I noticed people started selling like mariscos from home, or cheesecakes or candies and all kinds of different meals. I think you could even you started doing like the Cuban sandwiches, right?
Oh yeah, the Cubano. That was I was inspired by. Sorry about the dogs in the background. It's my
All
neighbor's
good, man.
dogs.
All good.
Finna feed them some rat poison sandwiches. You know what I mean? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna Michael Vick anybody out here.
Uh,
But yeah, I as a chef, my favorite movie was the Jon Favreau movie Chef,
mm,
and I got his recipe online and I followed it exactly verbatim, and I did my own little twist on it here and there, and that's how I came out with the Martinez Meals Cubano sandwich. It was a variation on a traditional Cuban sandwich, and that was one of my favorite things to do.
mm-hmm.
Like I dream about that damn sandwich.
It's hard to find a good one, man. Surprisingly, I guess we don't have as many Cubans as we thought here in San Gabriel Valley, right?
Yeah, but come on, we're Mexican. We could cook anything.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Surprisingly, and I'm gonna catch some heat for this, but Guy Fieri has a really good Cuban sandwich.
Hey, you ain't gonna catch no heat. Guy Fieri's Guy Fieri for a reason. The amount of hate that man gets, I will never understand. He is the most lovable, bleach blonde son of a bitch I've ever seen,
That's
and he
true.
makes good ass food.
Except when he's makes the second worst pozole since Rachel Ray.
Okay, we ain't gonna talk about the pozole.
That's pretty bad too. I was like, no, not Guy. I saw him making his version of pozole, and I'm just not gonna even go there. But you also mentioned when making food, keeping it affordable, and I actually I did the same thing, right, when I tried out my hand at barbecue. And I'll say this, I only did it for a few weeks because then I got my job back. I'm like, oh well, I don't like I don't need
Yeah,
to, I mean, I was on unemployment as well for the first time in my life because it's COVID shit, you know. That was different. But yeah, once I started getting work again, I'm like, well, I don't need this, and it's like a lot of work, and I
oh yeah.
appreciate it. Uh-huh.
No, I was gonna say that barbecue shit, man. That is
Hours.
painstaking.
Yeah, hours of prep. Yeah. And just to get it right, you have to make sure that the temperatures are where you need them to be internally and all that. And you know what I'm talking about. But after a while, I was just like, yeah, I appreciate that people appreciate it, but I'm like, I would not do this by myself ever again. Like, I would need a crew, because it's so much work. But one thing I did want to do in that short, brief time, I want to make sure people, got what they paid for, and it was like, a good price. I didn't charge anything over $20 because I'm like, this is not restaurant pricing. You get gouged at restaurants. I wanted to
Yeah,
make sure. I think I had a simple menu. If you get, one meat plus, two sides and all the little things that I threw in, it was super cheap. It was like $12. Two meats, 15, three meat, 18, and all four meats was 20. I'm like, that's a fucking deal, right?
that's a good deal.
Right. And so I see that you like to keep your prices cheap too, but I noticed that a lot of food vendors, I don't know if you've seen this as well, their prices are sky high, man. I'm like, I do
Yeah,
appreciate that they're
honestly,
there, but their prices are up here.
no, don't even get me started on the price gouging. Speaking for myself, there were services that I did where I fucking lost money.
Oh,
And you want to know something? I didn't fucking care that I lost money on it. Sure, it was like, damn, that sucks. I didn't make a big profit, or I didn't make as much of a profit. But at the end of the day, especially when I was doing the barbecue thing, it was out of like passion, and genuinely was out of the care for the community, because I knew a lot of people were struggling around us. And so I honestly, I didn't give a fuck if I made $10 profit or $100 profit, as long as I knew that I was keeping my prices affordable for people who, couldn't afford it. I even did services where I did a pay what you can. And I had people buying a burger for $2. Some people bought it for 20. And I never once went like, man, this son of a bitch only paid $5 for this. No, because I'm not like those other vendors where they're raising the prices and they're just taking advantage of people. It's like, just because people have gotten back to work doesn't mean that the struggle isn't there. Because people fell way behind on their shit. And so I see the price gouging, and honestly, everybody's got to make money their own way, but I personally see that as, fuck, you took a culture that was cheap street food, and you went and you bastardized it and you made it into something that you're trying to make a living off of. And I go to these events, and I've been fortunate enough to work with some people who do fair prices, but if you're going to charge me $4 for a fucking taco, that asada better be Wagyu. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was going to go to. I was going to say $3 a taco is too much, but yeah, that's more likely. It's probably like $4 or $5 a taco out there now.
Yeah.
And I never understood that though. I'm like, that's beyond restaurant pricing. You know, that's kind of like what food trucks were doing, where they're charging, you know, more than a restaurant would. And I get that you have expenses and whatnot, but I'm just kind of baffled that people pay that. You know, and they're so willing to just throw the money at it because they you know, people become loyal, right? They become like really loyal to certain stands.
Aside from the loyalty of the stands, if your stand blows up, you got these fucking TikTokers and food reviewers coming, and your spot becomes trendy. And instead of being humble and being like, this is awesome, you go, how do I capitalize on this? Like I will never raise my prices to an egregious point where it's like people can't afford it. Cause I know there's a vendor in El Monte, Playboy Hot Dogs.
Yeah.
He is the coolest kid. And with you know, the prices of produce coming up, he's done his best to keep it cheap. And when he had to raise it, he went on his Instagram and he told people like, hey, unfortunately I have to raise it. And he was really like apologetic about it. And that's somebody who's doing it for the right reasons. Like, he's not trying to build a vacation house out of your guys' money. He's actually like going out there every day and doing good food. And so I see other vendors who gain all this popularity from all these bloggers and TikTokers, and then they're selling these fucking mini pancakes for $5, and then they blow up on TikTok, and it's like, well, now the price is $12.50.
Yeah.
It's just that's how the scene is, and it's unfortunate that like it has to be that way. And I get it, people got to make money, people have expenses to pay, but if you're over here tripling and quadrupling your prices from when you first started, I don't agree with that. That's just me, honestly.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned, you know, because like I think a lot of people have heard of like the same, you know, food vendors too. I heard of that Playboy kid because, you know, I got a few friends that, you know, support him, and you know, they're always you know, eating there and posting and everything. And it's funny because then it becomes like this underground kind of like rivalry between people, and it's him and another hot dog guy, and they're like feuding over the same spot and everything. I'm like, man, we came fucking WWF and shit, you know?
Yeah, and that's the part of the vending culture that made me like not want to take my food out to the streets, because I have a rig and I have friends who can help me set up shop outside. But I've heard stories about, you know, taco vendors getting real territorial, and I'm like, this is El Monte. This isn't the mafia. What are you doing? Why do you think you can control an entire block just because somebody made a video about you and you got 50,000 likes on TikTok? So yeah, these underground beefs about who controls territory, it's very Machiavellian. And I'm just like, what happened to all of us being like, hell yeah, El Monte's a blooming food industry. We're a community. We stand together. But I guess, you know, over time, egos and money gets in the way, and shit like that is what honestly keeps me from going out there on the daily and vending.
Yeah, no, and you know, it's kind of weird because I thought there was kind of a sense of camaraderie from a lot of food vendors, right? And I guess there's still somewhat that old school mentality where, like, you know, no, my family eats first, where, as you know, as opposed to, you know, everybody has room at the table, right? And I guess it depends on the person because, yeah, I remember a friend of mine, Hector, he was the one doing like fish. It was called fish, but it was spelled kind of funky with the Z
Oh
and
yeah, he was doing cheesesteaks for a while, right?
yeah, for a little bit, but he's doing all kinds of stuff, trying all kinds of stuff out. But yeah, he was doing those. But he would say even like yeah, there were some people out there that he's real friendly with, and he would you know he'd be helpful and even buy their food. But they would kind of just be very very like standoffish and not trust you and whatnot. So I guess it depends on who's selling what, but it's kind of weird. You would think that, because you are out there making a living, doing your thing, that you would kind of feel for other people that are doing the same thing, but it's like it's so competitive, man. I think it's that, I hate to put it on us, but it's that Hispanic blood in us where we're always kind of like tearing each
Oh
other
yeah.
down.
Where it's like you don't work harder than me, I work harder than you. It's that ego thing. It's that Hispanic, that machismo culture
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you can't outdo me. I'm the best here. I run the block. And honestly, that did become crippling for a lot of people. The height of camaraderie was honestly, do you know the old Big D's location?
Yeah, yeah.
Where that corner, how they had like five vendors there a night, that was the strongest sense of community I'd ever seen among food vendors. And then they put up the gates and they all went their separate ways. And then it became like everybody trying to hold down their own territories.
Mm. That's unfortunate, and I think I wanted to touch on that too because, for for yourself, I imagine, it's something you do, to get your name out there, to really build your business, build, your brand and all that. Not, I mean, I'm not going to make assumptions, but I don't think you absolutely 100% need it as your first source of income, especially if you're losing money sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But there's people out there where that's their income, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's what they do for a living. And if they can't do it, they're not making any money. And you've got like and I understand, they have a job to do, but you've got these government officials coming out there from the city or from from what's it called? I don't even know the damn agency that would handle this. But anyway,
Code enforcement.
yeah, whoever the hell it is, so
Yeah.
a lot of Jamaican people, I know that they hire a lot of Jamaican people. But you've got them coming out and shutting down vendors left and right, and then having them throw their food away. That's the part that pisses me off the most, right? Have you seen that a lot?
Oh yeah, because I follow like El Monte memes, I follow El Monte news because I like to know what's going on in my community. Which side note, some of y'all need to learn how to fucking drive. I'm tired of seeing accidents on that
Yeah.
goddamn page. But I would see these code enforcements, and I understand. I understand as food vendors, we need to have licenses, we need to practice sanitation, we need to follow rules. But when I see people in our community who are going hungry, can't afford good food, and I see them taking bags and bags of perfectly good food and just throwing them away, that enrages me because it's like, why not implement something where we can take the food? If you're going to take the food from these hardworking people, find a way to maintain it and cook it and give it to the community. But that's a utopian Marxist thing to say. But I understand everybody's got a job to do, and there's health and regulations that I personally don't understand. But it's infuriating to see good food get thrown in the trash like that. And you can only say like these people are only doing their job so much before it's like, bro, we could eat that fucking meat.
Yeah, and having to throw it away is bullshit, man. Because it's like, hey, I paid for it. It's mine. If
Oh yeah.
I'll do whatever I want with it. I'll take it home and whatever. But to have to throw it away then and there on the spot is just bullshit. Because I mean, I wish they did a as good a job getting. And again, this is probably a cancel me moment here, but I don't care. I wish they did as good a job getting the homeless people out of there.
No, okay, no, you are not going to get canceled for that because I stand with you on that shit. I look around the city and the homeless problem has become so huge and prominent. And you'd think these fucking officials would spend more time worrying about a real issue like that than harassing people trying to make a living. Like if you go into the El Monte bus station, it's like a homeless central there. and it's bad. You got people pissing on walls, people walking around shirtless. It's bad, and it seems like the city is just picking and choosing what problems they're going to address.
Yeah, and I mean,
so I'm with you.
I think they should address something like that first, man, before you go after people working and making the city better. In my opinion, go after the people that, I mean, and again, I have sympathy for people that are genuinely needing of help, right? But some of these homeless people, man, they just don't want the help. If the help is out there, they don't take it. And I've been there on the other side trying to help them, with different programs and whatnot. That when I was working in LA, they don't want to take the help. They don't want to live. They don't want to see. They don't want to see the pamphlets. They don't want to hear you.
No, yeah, some of them are just stuck in their ways, and it's honestly, it comes down to mental health issues most likely, and it's just the community isn't willing to invest in that problem because they can occupy their time more with an easier job, which would be harassing the local taco guy who doesn't have a leg to stand on because he doesn't have the resources that a whole city has.
Mm-hmm. And imagine being the taco guy too. Then you got to worry about, fuck, am I going to get deported?
Oh, geez, yeah. I honestly, there are times where I don't even think of that, where you do have to wonder, like the fear and courage that you have to go out there and do that, even if you being an undocumented person, and you see people going like in the comment section, this shit infuriates me. Well, if they had the right permits, maybe they wouldn't be harassed. And it's like, well, sometimes, they can't afford the right permits, or maybe they're here illegally and don't want to risk going through the city, going through the government to acquire the right paperwork. So it's like, it's a case by case thing where we don't know the situation on why they don't have it. I know I personally don't have a permit to work out in the streets because, it's a little expensive for someone like me who's just trying his best to keep the business afloat from time to time, because I want to make sure that you guys can afford my shit. I'm not going to go and, go ahead.
Yeah, it's an arbitrary thing, that price, right? They just kind of raise it at their discretion, however they like without much to back up any sort of, increase.
Yeah, and it's like the permit is like, okay, well, what do I get with it? No, all you do is you get our permission. Oh, you mean I get your permission to be in public? That's why the whole idea of a permit is just
a holy blessing.
I know, it's like it's that conspiracy theorist in me that it's like, this is just the city trying to get more money out of people who are literally going out there because they're trying to survive. And I just see it as like, this is the government, man, trying to keep us down.
Yeah, and it's a load of bullshit, man. Because what would you prefer? People go back to like the early 90s, late 80s, where they're just killing each other for fucking drug money and shit. Because I don't really look, and I might be kind of like playing Mr. Innocent here. Especially, I don't really live in El Monte anymore. I live in Temple City now. And I moved to Pomona for quite a while before, so I haven't really seen. Yeah, it is what it is. You know what? Pomona is basically El Monte, but with a different demographic slightly. But I don't really see what's going on as much anymore. But I don't think just by passing by and with people that still live there, the gang problem, the drug problem is as prevalent as it was a decade ago. Right? Am I wrong there?
Right. I mean, I don't. From what I see whenever I go throughout the city, because I do take public transportation, I don't see the gang problem as prominent anymore. I mean, sure, there's hoodlums everywhere. There's youths and hoodlums all over the place, but it's not as bad. It seems a little more with the pandemic and the growing years and the changing of generations. It's like it's cooling down a bit. I think that's actually really helpful for these food vendors, because they're not being accosted, they're not being robbed or shot at, they're being taken care of by the community.
Yeah, and I'm saying, like, they'd rather gouge people 700 and whatever, however much a damn permit costs, and have them possibly go back to, revert to that style of making money as opposed to just selling a few fucking tacos. Come on now,
Right? Like, honestly, if they were a little more lax with the permits, charge them a little less, actually help them get the permits for a cheaper price. Like the city will get their money, and these people can have affordable permits and be able to sell their shit.
Yeah, and I'm just to add to that, just surprised at how many different skills are out there. We talked about the different types of food, but I'm sure you've seen much more, right? I think again, so we got there's burgers. I think there was somebody even making pizzas out of their truck or something like that.
Oh yeah, I've seen that guy. I
Tacos,
forget
obviously.
The name. Your tacos, obviously. Pupusarias. You got the hibachi, man. That became a huge thing at the beginning of the pandemic. It's like all these Mexicans who worked at Benihana got laid off, and they were like, all right, I know how to make the yum yum sauce. I could do it.
That made all the difference, is that fucking yum yum sauce, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel fruity calling it yum yum sauce, but goddamn, that's what it is.
Listen, when it's that good, I don't care if you call it cum drip sauce. Like I'm putting that shit on
That's like that old Louis C.K. Joke where he talked about Cinnabon, and he was like, I don't care if you call that icing hot jizz, just pour it all over my face.
That's where I am with that yum yum sauce, man. I don't give a fuck. Call it whatever you want. It's not going to deter anything. But the different skills out there. I mean, I was like, shit, everybody's a chef, man.
Oh, yeah. And it's because, like, when restaurants closed, you had a bunch of cooks. Like, I was fortunate enough to be working as a chef in, like, a retirement home. So I had stability in my job because old people had to eat. Mm-hmm. But when all these restaurants started closing down, you had a bunch of cooks who was like, I know how to do one thing really well, and that's fucking cook. And so that's why you started seeing all these food businesses popping up like crazy. And honestly, it took the city by storm.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your specialty and, really kind of get to the heart of the burgers there, man, because I noticed that's something that people keep coming back for, right? And you have a bit of a following with that. And I think I would like to say that that's probably what you're most passionate about when it comes to your sales and everything, right?
Oh yeah, so, the burgers are everything to me. So go ahead, ask me whatever you want to ask me about that.
So you've got, what was it, the Feast Burger? Is that what it's called? Your main one?
Yes, sir. The Feast Burger. I started off doing that. 2 patties, 2 cheese, and my own special sauce on a toasted bun.
Nice. So you started doing like a smash burger style, right? A lot of people have really gotten into that now. I mean, I've seen that before, but again, it's one of these things that kind of came to prominence after, like, COVID and whatnot. People started doing the smash patties a lot more than, because I only saw it done really at a few places, like Smash Burger, right? Obviously, it's called Smash Burger, and in a couple other places, but I hadn't really seen that done as much anywhere else. Everybody kind of was sticking with like the thick patties, right? Why the Smash Burger style?
Okay, so Smash Burgers have like a lot of good qualities about it. Financially, it's less meat. You're going to use a lot less meat than you would with one of those thick patties. And when you actually like push the burger down on the edges, you get this nice crispy caramelization from the seasonings and just the heat of the flat top. And it gives it a nice little crunch, and the meat's nice and juicy. And honestly, I prefer smash burgers over thick burgers any day because of that little crispiness that you get at the edge, just like a little hard meat candy. Mm-hmm. And I just think that you can't beat a smash burger.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that a lot of places. Now you have like your secret sauce without revealing too much about it, right? It's like it's got like bacon in it and whatnot.
Oh yeah. No, I don't mind because I could tell you what's in it, but you can't put as much as I do, and you won't get it exactly. I've got it formulaic on my side. Nice. It's my feast sauce is a variation of 1,000 Island, where I infuse it with bacon, my own spices, my own other little extra sauces. And so it's a nice smoky, sweet, and a little kick at the end of it too from a hot sauce that I put in it. So nice. It gives it such a complex, more palatable flavor because I like to do I like to do what I call bacon onion jam, where I slow cook onions in bacon fat and some brown sugar, and I get it nice and like jammy. So you get that sweetness, you get the saltiness and crispiness from the meat, and you get the creaminess from the cheese, and you get that little heat and smokiness from the sauce. So everything I did with my burger, I approached it as a chef because by trade, I'm a chef. I went to culinary school for 2 years. Le Cordon Bleu, you shut down on me.
Yeah, they owe you money or what?
No, I owe them money, apparently. I got to pay money to a ghost school. That's some bullshit.
Oh man.
But I approached everything I did with the conscientious choice that as a chef, I would want to eat this. From the drink I give to you with it, to the toppings, to the bun type, to how long I toast it, when I press it down. Everything I do is methodical. That's why I could tell you everything I put into my food, but I guarantee you that you're not going to do it like me because I came at this with my own passion and my own technique.
Nice. Yeah, I had the same mindset. You said I was briefly doing barbecue, right? I still make my own sauce sometimes if I'm serving it for family too, but I make my own barbecue sauce, right? And people ask what's in it. I'll tell you exactly what's in it. Like the same concept, you have, it's like with anything, right? You can tell somebody all the steps, exactly how to make it. They're not going to make it like you. They're not going to, they're not going to sit there and make sure that everything's perfect. And, sometimes you just almost have like this keen sixth sense about it, like it's done. Like you look at a burger, or you can even just fucking hear it. Like it's done, but same thing with the sauce. I just tell people like, look, the basic ingredients, are, and I tell them all the spices and everything, like Coca-Cola, right? And that's what makes it special,
Yeah.
So I tell them all the different ingredients and whatnot. And then when I get to the Coca-Cola, they're like, you put Coca-Cola in there? Like, yeah, it's fucking good. And it gives it like,
yeah, you get that sweet acidity from the Coca-Cola.
But like, yeah, you can tell them exactly what your secret is, and they just won't, they'll just let you do it. They'll let you be the expert anyway. But that's pretty cool. Now, as far as your burger, right? You use like a regular sesame bun, or what do you use on that?
I use just a regular burger bun, no sesame seeds on it, because I just felt like, with the sesame seed buns, the buns were a little too big for what I was doing. Smash patties, you want to try to condense it and bring it all together in like a nice, easy thing to hold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think your burger sounds like a fancy brioche type, right?
No, but I did when I was doing my at-home services. Now I'm doing pop-up events, but when I was at home and had more time, I would do burgers of the month, where I would do my smash burger along with like a fancy burger. And I actually had one that I dubbed the fancy pants, where it had like a bunch of expensive stuff on a brioche bun. It was really cool.
Nice. Yeah. With that, and I was actually going to ask about the burger of the month. So is that something that's going away? Are you going to continue to do that at any point? Or
if I ever do more services at home, which I don't know, the pop-up scene's a little slow for me right now with the whole moving process, but I might do like a tune-up day for when I do it at home. I'll do the burger of the month. It's all about when I do my pop-ups, I'm more about efficiency than extravagance.
Right.
So I haven't had the chance to incorporate a burger of the month. I've tried a couple times at pop-up events, but people just go for the regular instead of wanting to try the burger of the month.
Mm-hmm. They'd rather go with the safe bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like Grill 'em All. They'll do their burger of the month. Yeah. Some of them are major misses though, man. I've tried almost all of them. I'm like, yeah, not a fan of this one. Or some of them are too similar to other ones, but if you go with one of their classics like the Behemoth, right? You're gonna go with a winner,
Oh yeah. Or my favorite is the Jump the Fryer, where it's the chicken and waffle burger.
Ooh, yeah. Oh man, that's another winner right there.
Oh yeah.
Now, with that, I wanted to ask, your ultimate goals here as a chef, or even as as a burger man over there, right? What's your ultimate goals, man? You want to keep it going like as a pop-up, as a like a traveling service, or would you eventually want to do like a restaurant? I mean, the game has changed, so.
Oh yeah. My ultimate goal, honestly, would be to be doing this food stuff full time. I still have my day job. It would be cool to one day own my own food truck. That would be like a nice goal. But right now, honestly, I could say this with 100% certainty. I'm living my dream. As a kid, I always wanted to sell my own food. And so now that I'm able to do this and I have people who actually like want to buy from me, I'm happy doing pop-ups once or twice a month. Like I'm literally living my dream right now. Because the whole idea of a brick and mortar store is so arbitrary now. It's so old fashioned thinking where like as a chef or a cook, you don't make it until you get your own restaurant. But it's like I've seen so many businesses during this pandemic blow up and they don't have a brick and mortar store. They're still working out of their house or out of their cars and trucks and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm doing what I love, and that's the only thing I've ever wanted to do.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, the game's changed, so that's a great answer there because you don't need that as a form of validation anymore where you have, your own shop or anything like that. Where in the past it's like, anything else you're doing is just kind of like building towards that.
Yeah.
And it's cool to hear that perspective because in your eyes you've achieved success and it is what you make of it, right? You're happy serving people that they enjoy your food, that they want to come back. That's success in your eyes, and that gives people an idea of what they can aim for as well.
Oh
Because
yeah. You can tell when you're successful. Um, one Once you grow up and you stop caring about what other people think or have to say about what you're doing, you are your own litmus test for success. For you, success could be I got out of bed today. Because nobody knows what you're going through. Nobody knows what is keeping you from doing the things you want to do. Only you do. So if you have your own goals, as minuscule as some other person may think, they could be monumentous for you.
Yeah, agreed. I'm gonna take that getting out of bed one from me, man. I'm like, hey, I got out of bed today. I did
Yeah, because
something.
it all starts with just getting out of bed and putting in work. Like if getting out of bed is the hardest thing you do, then that means the rest of your day is going to coast. So everything after your first goal that you do is just uphill in a good way.
Like that for sure. Now, with some time that we have here, I wanna spread the word and some positivity about maybe some other vendors that you might want to shout out that you've met or that you kind of you've taken a liking to or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
So what are some that everybody's got to check out, man?
Okay, so there's obviously everybody in El Monte knows about Playboy Dogs. I'm always going to shout him out because he's a great kid and he's hardworking. If I had his drive when I was his age, I probably would have made something more of myself. So Playboy hot dogs, of course. El Monte's famous cheesecakes. He does a traditional. He has this old school, like authentic Mexican recipe for cheesecakes that he's been doing, and he does it out of his house. And he has been when I first popped onto the food scene, he was one of the first people to actually like push my food and tell everybody how good I was. And that's what, honestly, him and El Monte Memes shouting me out brought me so many of the customers that I have today. So there isn't a day that goes by where I'm not thankful for that man. El Monte's famous cheesecakes. But a lot of the other vendors' names slip my mind. But if you go on my page, I'm following them. Just look at, there's even aside from food vendors, there's so many craft vendors out there too, like people who are building shit. Like there's one, I believe his name's Miramontes Food Work or Miramontes Woodworking, where he builds like wood gun cases and stuff like that. And his work is top notch. But if you guys go on my page, Martinez Meals, look at who I'm following, or even look on my post because I shout a lot of people out too. Just check out, and you're gonna find some great vendors. Not all of them are selling candies and chamoy. A lot of them are selling some really awesome stuff.
And just again a few things to close out here. Like, we see you're the man. In as far as who represents the business, but I'm sure you can't do this alone, right? I mean,
no. First of all, I got to thank my wife. My wife Dolores has been like nothing but like supportive of me. She was the one who bought me my first smoker. She's the one who encouraged me to do this business. I would not be in the position I'm at. I wouldn't have this fucking smile on my face if it wasn't for that woman. And also a huge shout out to my friend Annette, who she comes and does pop-ups with her. She lets us use her car to put my shit in there, and she works with us. And like those two women in my life have been so helpful. So I can't thank them enough. Aside from, like Almani Meals for helping shout me out, and Almani's Famous Cheesecake for pushing my business too. But at the end of the day, Martinez Meals wouldn't have been a thing if it wasn't for my wife.
Nice. Yeah. It's good to hear, man. And, when can we expect to see you back up and moving as far as, burgers or the meals? I know you got a move going on right now, but, when can people expect to see you back?
Okay. People can expect to see me back hopefully in February. I have a lot of dates coming in the summer too. I work with these amazing people called Summer Spook Nights, where they do like Halloween during the summer. And they just told me that there's going to be 5 events coming up in the summer. So I'm definitely latched into that, but I'm hoping to come back. We should be fully settled in mid-February. And so by mid-February, I'm going to be looking for more promotions. I'm probably going to be selling out of my house. So February, keep an eye out for me. I hope to come back.
Nice. And to close out, man, where can people find you online? Any other last minute shout outs?
All right. Well, if you want to find me online, Martinez Meals on Instagram, all one word, at Martinez Meals. I'm open to do catering events. If you guys want burgers at your party, I'm more than welcome. I'm more than happy to go down there and hook it up. But really quick, I also want to give another shout out to my wife, Dolores. Thank you so much. And I want to give a special shout out to a chef who really helped to keep me motivated through this. He has a show on YouTube called The Burger Show. If you guys have ever heard of the restaurant Egg Slut, he is the chef and owner of that. His name is Alvin. I actually, with the help of my wife, we got him 2 of my burgers, and he had a lot of compliments from me, a lot of criticisms, and I took everything he said and I put it to use, and at the end of the day, it made my business better. So Chef Alvin, if you're out there, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And again, can't shout her out enough. My wife is amazing, and I would not be here without her. And she is not holding a gun to my head saying that.
No, I can tell you're a happy man. I've seen your wedding picture that you post online sometimes where you're like this, like, yes, like that.
Yo, yeah, because I won that woman. I won that woman over. High school best friends. And I was like, I'm tired of being in the friend zone. And I think if I worked as hard as I worked getting her into my life as I did in school, I would have gotten into any college I wanted.
Well, glad to hear for sure. Definitely appreciated having you on, man. I think, like I said, I've been wanting to talk to, some of y'all food people, for a bit. And I might try to get some more on here to just really spread the word and, feed some people.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you having me on. And if you ever need me on again, you know where to find me. And hopefully I won't be in a storage room.
It doesn't matter to me, man. Doesn't matter to me where anybody's calling from, as long as they got some clothes on,
All right.
All right. For everybody listening at home, I appreciate it. Thank you. Fuck you and good night. Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast, and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.